Isn't that something?
How does something like that?
It's hard to imagine, but you know, like you, I read the paper this morning and saw it last night. But the only thing I know that if you have a fraud that large, a lot of people are involved. That's not something that goes on for, I guess, 9 years. And the idea that it went on and only a couple of people fixed the books and hid the documents, I don't think that's correct.
So if you had dealing with
and who was involved and how widespread it was, and was it just the New York office, or was it an international strategy, if you will, to hide these trades?
All these international banks. I mean, Standard Chartered is a true international bank.
Well, there's got to be a couple of drug dealers laundering a few things, right?
I would hope not, but it could be possible.
Much,
but
not 250.
It's not without a lot of people trying to find them. That's for sure.
Really?
Well, well, in this country, obviously, anti-money laundering is a big deal.
Because that's what we said this morning.
All the money,
right.
But we you know, given the laws that we put in place and the rulings that the government came out after 2002, you would think that people would have been avoided the U.S.
We're all, you know, we had this all
over a long period of time in his career.
Anytime you start like that, you see a comma but coming.
But breaking up the banks, you know, is. Of course, what does it mean to break up the banks? And one of the issues is that we're going to take investment banking and put it off balance sheet, move it away from the traditional banks. Now, where have we had problems? We've had problems where the investment banks had a liquidity issue. And Knight Capital was exactly that way. It was a liquidity issue. And, you know, frankly, what's happened is when we put investment banking together with the traditional bank, where there's real funding and core funding, like clearly there needs to be more capital involved. Counterparty risk has to be more heavily monitored.
But
those
his
are the
basic
things that we're
premise
working
is
on
to
now.
break the banks up,
because it eliminates the liquidity risk of the investment banking part.
So hopefully you were watching this show.
I think Sandy's worried about safety and soundness, and in Sandy's day.
Do you? Because he was arguing, I thought
that, but I think the issue is safety and soundness. As a country, our first issue is safety and soundness. And so the idea that you would set up another investment bank without any core funding, and we have another Bear Stearns, or we have another Lehman Brothers, and actually those are liquidity issues. It wasn't the industry has taken a hit, and it does take a hit every time we have one of these announcements. I mean, we saw just when J.P. Morgan had their trading loss.
Yeah.
The entire industry took a hit in the reputational risk. By the way, it was their money. It wasn't government money, but nonetheless, again, there was confidence.
You see, you watch.
A couple of different issues. One is we have 7,500 banks in the country, and when we talk about trading risk, and we talk about Bernanke, we're only really talking about 2 or 3 banks in the whole country
that are too big to fail.
You know, quite frankly, we went
that are
through
systemic. Is that what you mean?
Stearns. And we actually didn't do this.
You have a different model, though. What do you have?
23 states in the country. All the way from Chicago down to Florida.
You want to be bigger?
And I think we want to grow customers right now. And we're growing customers. We grew 300,000 households, just natural growth last year. We grew 140,000 in the first half of this year. We're growing corporate primary customers. We grew over 1,000 each of the last 2 years.
Would you buy other banks? There's a lot.
Working extraordinarily well. It's going to be about 40 cents accretive this year.
How much?
40 cents this year.
Wow.
And so we're very pleased with how that's working. And I think just building out the franchises.
PNC 5.
I think the bank.
Look like Wells.
We keep growing customers. Right. We will not have the mortgage dominance that Wells does. We only have 1.5% of the mortgage business. And while we like the mortgage business long run because it's a key product for our customers, but you know we're not going to be a dominant.
Do you remember these guys? What was